My name is Brian LaPierre, and this is LaPierre Report. On today's program, my featured guest is an award-winning mystery thrill writer, as well as a poet, essayist, and even a teacher. And his name is George R. Hopkins. George, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Okay, we have, just to make viewers aware, George physically found me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Which is unusual. Normally people find me on Facebook, but you found me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And yes, I have a LinkedIn account, and so does George. So anybody can connect with me on LinkedIn. Anyway, going forward, George, we will profile you based on your website, george-hopkins.com. You are a former U.S. Marines Corps Sergeant. You served on active duty during the Cuban Missile Crisis. You also were the chairperson of the English department at Susan Wagner High School out here in Staten Island, and you were designated as of course, the school, Susan Wagner High School, was designated as the National School of Excellence. If I'm correct, that was 1989.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
You're very good.
Yes. And you also taught out of St. John's University, Middlesex College, Columbia Teachers College, and also in Puerto Rico. Where in Puerto Rico is that?
In Bayamón. I was an exchange teacher from New York. I went down to Greece, living in San Juan, but I was teaching Upper Wando Bufes, which was a combination high school and intermediate school.
You had to speak both bilingual, speak both Spanish and English?
No, at that time, it was immersion. We had to try to immerse the students in the language, so I didn't take advantage of it that way. We did start a yearbook, and we had an English-Spanish newspaper, and I did some taping down for them. It was fun.
And also you were named twice Teacher of the Year by the New York Association of Teachers, and for your work in coordinating a senior citizens poetry contest. What year was the contest?
When I was at Susan Wagner, I was, the New York High School Festival Poetry, and I coordinated that for a little while, and then I retired, and I went to work at CAST, the Community Agency for Senior Citizens. Okay. And one day I got a call from a woman, Erin DeBello, who was the president of the National League of American Penwomen, and she said, you know, we were wondering, we didn't have any winners. You always, could we have an award in your name? And I said, no, because I'm not dead yet.
Okay.
But I said, what? I'm working with seniors now, so maybe we could have a poetry festival for seniors.
Okay.
CASC went along with it. We're now in our 14th year, actually going into the 15th year.
Wow.
It's really good.
Okay.
And it's all free. Seniors over the age of 65 can submit poems, and we put them in a booklet. We give it to them, and we've been very nice. We've been very lucky. Joseph Scalia has let us use the Bermuda Inn for a festival, and we have this really nice time.
I've been there. It's a nice place.
It is a nice place, yeah.
Yes. And also you were honored by New York One, which is part of Tom Carter Cable, as the New Yorker of the Week, and also led writing workshops for poets and writers, the Noble Maritime Museum, and the Community Agency for Senior Citizens. Obviously, that stands for CAS.
Yes,
right.
Right.
And also you won awards for poetry, writing, community service, and television production. Out here in Staten Island?
Right here.
In Staten Island Community Television.
Yeah.
Did you win any? Did you win?
Yeah, I won 2 awards, Nova Awards, they call them that.
You're kidding me.
Yeah,
we have an award-winning producer, everybody. All right. Do you remember the name of the projects?
One was community service, and one was crime prevention, I believe it was.
Really?
Yes.
I'm an award winner myself, too. I won.
Congratulations,
Yes.
Brian.
I won for they called the Volunteer of the Year Award.
Oh, great.
Yes, because I helped out on multiple programmings. I also helped out our 2 technical directors, Guy Comey and Helene Bachiri. They helped me out too. I helped out their shows.
Oh, that's great.
Helene's, both of them, of course, are award-winning producers too.
That's great.
So we are all winners today. Okay.
Hey, way to go.
Okay, now moving along, you have written, because you are an author here. If anyone knows anything about authors, one of the famous ones out here in Staten Island is, of course, the late Paul Zindel.
Yes. Yeah.
He wrote stories involving the, he wrote, everybody knows, of course, the Pigment Legacies. He also wrote The Effects of Gamma Rays, Man in the Moon Marigolds, as well as, of course, plays and everything. But because that's one of the first authors I thought of.
Yes, right.
I mean, because Paul Zindel comes down.
Yeah,
Now, of course,
He was a
The
science
difference
teacher.
between Paulson Down and you is that you, of course, wasn't born. You, of course, was not born on Staten Island. You were originally from Brooklyn.
That's right, right.
Yes. So am I. I'm not the only one. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, too. You were raised in the Bronx, and right now you currently live in Staten Island.
That's right, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now let's go. Okay, so.
I married a native Staten Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's got her hairdresser. No, I'm only kidding about that. But she's
Okay. Now you are, of course, if everyone has noticed, a topic, of course, is you, of course, George R. Hopkins, mystery thriller writing poet. Of course, says it all here. Tell us, how did you get started in writing?
Well, I liked it, and I used to write articles for the Advance. I was in the Men's Forum.
Yeah.
People said that they liked the articles, and they were basically human interest stories. And after that, I said, I'm writing all these, but I'd like to write a novel. I was teaching English,
Yeah.
so I said, I'll try. So I wrote one. It never got published, and it's still sitting at home. And I realized it will never get published because of the topic that it was. It was about bombings in a high school.
Oh, boy.
And so that's not going to go, so I put it away.
It's funny you mention that. Not a bombing, but I remember back in 1990, I think it was 3, there was involving in a shooting and outside the high school. I mean, a person, just because, there was, the high schools back then really didn't have no metal detectors at all.
That's right.
And fortunately, somebody snuck in a gun, which coincidentally was loaded.
Wow.
Student, of course, got shot in the foot.
Ooh.
And but like I said, I didn't. It was like unusual that I think I even didn't know the person at the time, but nobody had no idea that the possession of the gun.
Sure, sure.
But still, and in the belated story with guns and metal detectors here, if you remember, a few years later, 1995, somebody snuck in a gun to the Empire State Building.
Yes, yeah.
And again, no metal detectors, and after that point, metal detectors were installed. And they've been doing it at least since then. I remember I went to Empire State Building myself. This is 2 years after I graduated. I graduated in Susan Wagner High School in 1996. So, no, excuse me, 97, a year after, I went to the Empire State Building. And I remember the metal detectors was there.
They were, yeah.
They were installed, but the metal detectors, when you get through them to the Empire State Building, it's on the second floor. You get detected you don't get detected on the first floor, which it should be there, but you get detected on the second floor.
Yeah.
They probably have them on the first one now, ever since September 11th.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, they should have them, I think, outside on the airports, not inside.
True.
Outside.
Very true here. Okay.
We had a student at Susan Wagner once, an ESL, English as a Second Language student.
Yeah.
And the way things have changed, he brought a water pistol into school.
Right.
And he was suspended, and they lost him. He was someplace, and nobody, fortunately, the ESL teacher finally asked, and they found him, but he couldn't speak English. He was, it was a shame.
Okay. Well, let's get on. You have written 3 books. One, of course, is the award-winning book here. The first book we're going to talk about is the Blood Brothers. Can we get the first image on screen? There it is, Blood Brothers. That's the first book.
Thank you.
Now, we have a passage here from the what is written on the website. The 2 central characters seek to solve a crime in their own different and sometimes unique ways. One detective and the other a Jesuit priest, brothers separated by their lives but bound by blood. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting. The backdrop of the story is someone wants to kill Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
And I remember watching TV, and I saw Castro fall, and I said, "There goes my story." But fortunately, he didn't. Well, he's still alive, isn't he?
Yes, he's still alive.
Yes. So.
And he's been replaced by his brother, Raul Castro.
But I found so many different things that our own CIA tried to do to kill him, which was embarrassing when you think about it. From exploding turtles to they gave him a wetsuit which had a wetsuit which had poison inside of it. It was kind of strange what they did. Exploding cigars. It was.
Yes.
But so I found that. Throughout all these 3 books, what I did was I found a lot. Research really means a lot, and I learned a lot in writing them. So it was interesting.
Now, one of the main characters in the book, your 3 books, which is actually coincidentally a trilogy.
Yes, I guess it is, yes.
Right. The main character, of course, is Thomas Cavanagh, who is a New York City Police Department detective.
Yes, yeah.
Just curiosity, Tom Cavanagh, you know there was the actor, Tom Cavanagh.
No, that actually was named after my great-great-grandfather,
Really?
who was in the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
And he fought with the Anderson Zouaves. And so I have his discharge at home. I had his pistol at home. So I named it after him. But apparently there are a lot of Cavanaughs. In fact, the Letters from the Dead was a finalist in this international contest for mystery and thrillers. And the winner won. His detective's name was Cavanaugh.
Oh, really?
So and his was involving priests too, which is interesting.
And his partner is, of course, at the time was Morton Goldberg.
Yes, yes. Yeah, he's a pretty orthodox Jewish fellow who, and they bump heads left and right, but it's interesting. And then, as the story goes on, he gets to meet his half brother. So
now this whole thing takes place between 2 places in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, and of course in Cuba.
Yeah, it ends up in Cuba. Yes, it does. Yeah,
Okay.
it does. There was. We move around a lot. A lot of it is in Brooklyn. There's one scene where they go up to the Bronx looking for somebody, but there's a big chase scene in Brooklyn involving Greenwood Cemetery.
Yes, which we have right here.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the brother faces brother, killer faces killer, and friend faces friend, and each of the characters must choose between duty and loyalty.
Yes.
So it's basically like a karma situation. Basically, a karma situation.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of people in there who are related in different ways, whether through blood or through associations or friendship, and I think it's interesting.
Okay. And the next storyline in the book, if we get the next book, is Collateral Consequences. If we get here it is, Collateral Consequences. What you wrote here is, in your writing, you have tried to show how we are responsive to each other, how we face our own demons, and how individual actions affect others, both positively and negatively. Explain about that.
Yeah, I think all of us are responsible for each other. I think I read a story once, not a story, but James Bond Stockdale. He was the longest prisoner of war in Vietnam. Yeah. He actually ran with Perot for president. He was a vice president. They made a few jokes about him then because he was old. Yeah. But he wrote about the principles of leadership. And this first principle, well, 2 of them. One was life is not fair, and the other one is I am my brother's keeper. Yeah. And I really think we are responsible for each other. And what I try to show in all of the books is that a relationship between people, that even though they're mystery stories and they're thrillers, people are responsible for one another, and eventually they sort of come together to see that.
Okay. And also in the, what you call, from what I read, based on the passage here, your first novel, Blood Brothers, of course, received very favorable by its readers, and many asked you to write a sequel, which of course is Collateral Consequences. Yes. Yeah. Now, the Blood Brothers book ended with the possibility to a sequel, which of course it did, but it also built on your experience with the book, Blood Brothers, debated on the characters more fully, and you wrote about Collateral Consequences.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and Collateral Consequences, it's the consequences. What happens in Blood Brothers, whatever action we do, there's a consequence. Yeah. And so what happened there, the one brother who's a priest, a Jesuit priest, he leaves and goes to Cuba. Yeah. But his past follows him, and people come after him to kill him because of what happened in the first book. Yes. Each of the books is separate. You don't have to read the other one to get it. I've tried to put them all together so you see what they're about. Yes. But the point here is that there are collateral consequences. Things happen.
Now, keep in mind, for anyone who has read the book here, not to give any spoilers away here, the storyline that you said on both Blood Brothers and the Collateral Consequences was between the 1970s and 1980s. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, and this one started with someone getting a lot of money to basically go after Fidel Castro, a secret mission.
Right.
And he's been trying for a number of years to do it, and he's been unsuccessful. Right. And so now we come up to modern times, sort of, and he's he's decided to try to do that, but someone seems to beat him to the punch every time.
Right. Because right here back in the Blood Brothers book, you one of the characters, Howard Stevens, found out because he has a story. We have a story found out on the days of diamonds of the date April 6th, 1976.
Yeah.
So that'll be basically that's the starting point of the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, okay. And now let's go. Now the last book, which is the award-winning book, Letters from the Dead. Right here.
Yep.
Now this obviously is the final book of the trilogy, or so to say. There could be, of course, more books down in the corner.
There's another one coming up. Yeah,
there is another one coming up.
Yeah, so I'm about 3/4 of the way finished with it.
Really?
But yeah, actually, this one won a Premier Award. This one for thriller, and this one won a second place award in a Draco a local Staten Island contest.
Oh, really?
And but this one has won a couple of awards yet, and it's. And people like it, which I'm glad too. You know, it's.
I know it's different in the size of the book because the Letters of the Dead doesn't appear to have much writing than the Collateral Consequences than the Blood Brothers. I know it's like
thickness is right.
Yeah.
But as I said, the print is a little smaller, which is unfortunate. But.
Okay. Now, now about Letters from the Dead. You wrote Letters from the Dead as a true mystery puzzle to solve while navigating subplots and twists to entertain, surprise, and enlighten the readers along the way. It's also set against the background of the hunt for a serial killer named Lex Talionis. Is that right?
Talionis, yes.
Talionis. Letters from the Dead sports the cast of larger-than-life characters, hard-nosed, hot-headed New York detective Tom Cavanagh, his half-brother Jack Bennis, a priest with a checkered past, and this storyline involves a 90-year-old woman in a nursing home, with secrets.
Right.
Yes.
What she has is she has secrets from her dead sister. Her sister used to write to her, and the letters that she's written tell things that the brothers don't know about. And when they do find out about it, it's going to change their lives. So, but it also puts her life in danger because there's someone in the nursing home who is implicated in a number of crimes through these letters.
Yes. One thing notable in the book has written here between the characters here. There's also involvement of a mobster who, of course, also living in a nursing home named Vito Muscatelli.
Yes.
Yes. Because that's what's another thing that's based in the book itself too. Here, that's what someone have know. But also another thing is called the Maple Syrup Murderers.
Yeah, the Maple Syrup Murderers. There was someone in this book
Yes.
who used to kill people, and he would pour maple syrup over their bodies at the end. It's kind of gruesome. I don't know where I get these ideas, but I do. And that was it.
Where is he from? Originally from Vermont?
Yeah,
New Hampshire?
But he was, yeah. So that was it. And each one, this Collateral Consequences has a paid assassin, an international assassin, and in this one we have a murderer, and I think this one, Letters from the Dead, is interesting because the killer here is a serial killer who's out to punish the people he thinks are responsible for his daughter's suicide. She was cyberbullied in school, and so he goes after the people who are involved with this. And just so happens that Kavanaugh came to the defense of the boy who was accused, and so he's on the list also. So everything sort of goes around, and I try to throw a little bit of humor in there from time to time.
Yeah.
And that's people seem to like it.
Okay, yeah. Before we started the show, I did get a little chance to read a little bit from the Letters of the Dead, and I did notice one thing that you have used in the book, and one of the words was, of course, Facebook.
Yes.
So there had been a jump in the timeline between the Blood Brothers Consequences and Left of the Dead here.
Yeah, we're moving up in time. We're moving along. And in this particular one, Kavanaugh he's getting ready to retire. He's had it with the police force and everything else. And his brother is older. His brother's older than he is.
Yes.
So, but he's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
But so it's in fact in this book, in Letters from the Dead, the brother is really thinking, did he make the right decision in becoming a priest? And he's weighing back and forth. So he takes a leave of absence, and he goes to teach in a school on Staten Island, a private school, which is called Garfield High School. That's no such thing, but I made it up.
So
there we go. it sort of works out. And one of the things, I come along when I'm writing and I get to a certain point and I say, what if? And then that's when everything starts to go. And I write them one chapter at a time. So as I think I told you before, Tom Clancy once said that if you write one page a night, at the end of a year, you'll have 365 pages, which is a full book. So I try to do that. I try to do it when everybody's in bed and I don't bother anybody. And but then what happens, the other side is I do it at night. So what happens is I end up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and I write more than one page. So yeah. So today I wrote two chapters in the new book. And one of them I like a lot. It's it leaves you hanging. That's one of the things I do too. The chapters are small, so you could read one and then fall asleep if you wish.
Yes.
But they do go from character to character. You know, there may be 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah.
But they do leave you hanging, ready to go for the next one. One of my he's a retired doctor, and he called me one night and he said, "You son of a gun." He said, "I couldn't sleep last night. I had to keep reading this book." So that's good, I think.
That is good. Reading is fundamental, and I wish they still had more of these ads on TV. They just stopped they stop with them. I mean, what went wrong with them? I mean, you have all these things now on television, which is about autism and all these other nonprofit programs, juvenile diabetes. I mean, diabetes is still around.
Yeah.
But like I said, reading is fundamental part, and they all of a sudden stop the literature. Or the other one with the owl, where he says, "Give a hoot, don't pollute." The pollution ads.
Yeah.
And I think it was the Ann Arbor Day.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, all those things are good, and they need support, But I think you're right. Reading is good. But now the society we're living in is all instant gratification.
That's true.
What you have here with the CTV and everything else, it's like the McDonald's generation. I think
Yes.
we want it now.
Exactly.
We don't want to wait. So
I think there's now more Subway restaurants than McDonald's.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I bought a watch, not this, it was a digital watch, and I brought it home and I opened it up and I threw away the box, not realizing that inside the box were the directions.
Yeah.
So what happened is I had to go back to the store. I went, and what happened, I found out the woman said, "Hey, if you were 10 years old, you'd be able to do this, but I'm not 10 years old. I couldn't do it." So.
Okay. Just curious, the 4th book.
I tentatively call it Random Acts of Malice.
Really?
And it's a very complicated story in a way. But it's basically about someone who's trying to kill a judge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it involves letters from a prison to the judge, and it's again a cast of thousands. And I try to give again. One of the things years ago I read The Girl with the Tattoo, and I liked that because it was a mystery. You had to try to solve the mystery. So what I've done, especially in this book and the one I'm writing now, give a lot of possible suspects and let the reader try to. Also, I put clues in there so that the reader can pick it out. And I'm not going to try to trick the reader. And Sherlock Holmes used to, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock knew all the answers. He didn't tell you them until the end, But I'm leaving them there. They're big, but only after you read it, you say, "Oh, that's right." Hopefully, anyway.
Okay. Now your detective character, Tom Cavanagh, will it be featured in the 4th book?
Yes, he will be. Yes, the both of them will be. Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be in the book again, and he will be tied. Although at this particular time, his spot in life has changed, and he's now married.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I won't give anything else, but he has the complications that marriage bring with it. Which what can I tell you? Okay. Sorba the Greek used to say, "I'm married. I'm a man. The full catastrophe." So anyway, that's part of what his situation is.
Okay.
And once again, he and his brother, as brothers tend to do, they butt heads. And the policeman, the detective, says to his brother, the priest, "Please stay out of this. This is not your business." And the brother does what he wants to do. His brothers do, So.
Okay. Just because as the times are moving short in the program here, by any curiosity, I just want to know: did you ever have a favorite before writing buying books here? Did you ever had a favorite book, writer, author?
Yeah, I liked a lot of different authors. Really, I liked, this is going to
I wouldn't recommend at least James Fry, who wrote the Million Little Pieces.
No.
I wouldn't recommend that book.
No,
because he got, I mean, for what, I mean, then he goes on Oprah Winfrey and says that he didn't write the book.
No. I actually, in college, I liked James Joyce.
Yeah.
And he's not a very easy reader, but I liked him. I liked William Faulkner, not another easy reader. I like Michael Connelly.
Yeah.
He's a murder mystery writer. I like James Patterson when he writes his own stories, not with somebody else. I always feel that's cheating.
Okay.
He has a whole cadre of writers with him. Okay. I've gone the gamut, I guess.
Okay.
John Steinbeck. I liked simple, and I try my writing, unlike Joyce and Faulkner, who might be too complicated. I try to keep it simple.
Okay.
I remember teaching class. I always thought one of the hardest things that students had to do was to read that teacher would say, write a composition, and they're looking at a blank sheet of paper. That's hard. You know, so I always would try to write with them.
Okay.
And now I'm in a couple of writing workshops with people, and when I give an assignment, I try to do it myself.
Okay. The time's actually going to run short here, but George, I'd definitely like to thank you for coming on the program.
Well, it's my pleasure.
If anyone out there wants to make contact with you, how can anybody do that?
Or they can reach me on my website, which is www.george-hopkins.com, or call me or email me, hopkins109@aol.com, or this is a tough one, greh322531@aol.com.
Okay.
And I'll get back.
Okay, George, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Anyone out there wants to reach me, they could email me at lapierreport@gmail.com, or they go right to the studio. I'd like to thank Guy Cormier, Helene Bichiri, staff crew in the studio, and the accounting firm of AJC Advisors. To the viewers, I'm Brian LaPierre, and this was LaPierre Report. Thanks for watching.